You live in San Francisco, not Seattle. We're not the 12th man. We just have, what do they call them? The faithful, I think is what they call them. But it is a hell of a home field advantage, and that's a difference. The Lions step out of, as you said earlier, it's amazing it took us 20 years to recognize that Ford Field is a great home field advantage. It took the Lions 20 years to put a team there that the fans would get excited about. And it's not like they blew out either team. This is a huge difference for the Lions to take this show on the road, onto grass, in a hostile environment. All the things that worked for them are now going to be working for the 49ers. Probably one of the reasons why the 49ers are favored by 7.5.
Mike, you said something earlier in the show. You said that Ben Johnson is likely the leader in the clubhouse, or whatever word you use, and I totally agree with you. I think that there's a good chance he's going to get the job in Washington. I don't know that it's a done deal, but I do think there's a good chance that he will be teamed with someone who he really doesn't know well, who he'd never worked with before, in Adam Peters. And they will be the young, fresh-faced look, trying to rebuild for Josh Harris, this once proud franchise. However, in the intervening time, let's talk for a second about the advantage that the Lions have going into San Francisco. And I have felt this way since about early December, late November, watching the Detroit Lions play football. Mike, one of the great advantages that Ben Johnson has as a play designer and a play caller is the absolute embarrassment of riches that he has on the offensive side of the ball. If you look at the running back position, he has got a meat and potatoes, Nick Chubb light back in David Montgomery. And then he's got a lightning running back in Jahmyr Gibbs, who is really one of the most exciting players in football. Then you look at the tight end. They've got, Sam Laporta, and obviously they've added Zach Ertz. Who knows? Maybe he plays a little bit of a role in this game. But just remember, Zach Ertz has caught the winning touchdown pass in a Super Bowl before, and he is one of those guys who you never know. They might put him in for 6 plays, and he makes a play. And then you look at the wide receiver position, and everybody would say, man, Jamison Williams, what a stud. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, he is one of the great receivers in football, even though he was the 17th receiver picked in the draft just 2.5 years ago. But I look at something else at the receiver position. I look at Josh Reynolds. I look at Donovan Peoples-Jones, who not even sure he's going to be active for the game. But I look at them, and I look at Khalif Raymond. And I look at all of these guys, and I basically say, how are you going to cover them all? How are you going to account for all of them? And that is what I think has to be 49ers defensive coordinator Steve Wilks' biggest issue coming into this game. We have to make sure that on some play, Khalif Raymond doesn't sneak out uncovered. He goes 75 yards for a touchdown. So that is one thing I would be really concerned with if I were the 49ers, that they have got 7 or 8 or 9 playmakers on offense. And if you don't account for every one of them on every play, you could be left in the dust.
And then there's that balance, and it's a point that Chris Sims makes. If you try to blitz Jared Goff, they do a good job of picking it up, and then somebody becomes even more wide open. Goff finds him, and off that guy goes. You need to get the Lions into 3rd and long and try to get to Goff with your front four. The front four in San Francisco, not quite as great as it's been in the past, but it was a very high bar in the past. You still have Nick Bosa. This is a game where Bosa needs to step up and harass Goff and get him to make mistakes. And I think one of the big factors in this game, Peter, which quarterback will make the most mistakes. We have seen both guys have stretches where it's not great. And you don't want to pick the worst day possible to have a bad day. Who do you trust more to not have a bad day on Sunday? Jared Goff or Brock Purdy?
I don't look at it. I don't think either one of them is going to have a bad day. I honestly don't. I think they're both going to play well. I know Brock Purdy is probably the best I've seen at tuning out the people who think he's a piece of crap. Which, I throw my hands in the air.
You are a piece of crap. A piece of crap.
I throw my hands
you,
in
sir,
the air,
are a piece
quite
of
honestly.
crap.
I throw my hands in the air at all these people who just say, oh my God, Brock Purdy. How are they going to win with Brock Purdy? I mean, just go back and put on the tape of 49ers 42, Dallas 10. Put on the tape of 10 of his starts so far in his NFL career. But anyway, be that as it may, I think they're both going to play well. And I think the video we saw, the little grainy, I don't know what you'd call it, I think cell phone video that you saw from practice on Thursday of Deebo Samuel running around free and using his arms, you wonder, geez, this is a guy whose shoulder is really messed up. Well, he looked pretty good running around on Thursday at practice. So, I mean, I shouldn't say this, but it's virtually certain he's going to play in this game. And assuming he does play and he's somewhat healthy, he becomes a gigantic X factor for the 49ers. And I think both quarterbacks are going to come out. I think this could really be an old-fashioned score fest. Even though these are two defenses capable of playing really well, I think the diversity of targets for Jared Goff is one thing. The quality of targets and the efficiency of Brock Purdy, I think this could be a game that's played in the high 20s or 30s.
Well, and that would make it a great game. If both quarterbacks have great days, that makes for a greater likelihood of a high-scoring, exciting game down to the end. But we have seen both guys slip from time to time, and you just never know what's going to happen. Yep. The rain won't be an issue on Sunday like it was on Saturday night. That clearly was bothering Brock Purdy, although he got it together when the game was on the line, drove the 49ers down the field, got the score, and Jordan Love was not able to answer. Goff is 0-5 in his last 5 games against the 49ers with 7 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. And he did have a little bit of a stretch there where he was a turnover machine, but they've settled that down. And that offense is very good. The 49ers offense is very good. Between the two, the 49ers defense is better, but all that matters is, are you winning in the postseason? And even though the Lions have been in a couple of close games, they could have lost to the Rams. They won by 8. They covered the spread, but it still wasn't a blowout over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is going to be a tough test for both teams because the Lions have – you set aside the X's and O's. The Lions are carrying that magic with them, and they seem to be the darlings now. And there's just kind of like a collective will that people want to see the Lions get to the Super Bowl because it never happened before. And, does that vibe carry with them when they are the visiting team in a game like this? Maybe it does, and maybe it does make a difference. Maybe they feel like they're the team of destiny this year to get there and win it. That could help too, but 7.5 seems like a lot. 7.5 seems like a lot. I think the Lions are not going to go quietly.
One of the reasons, Mike, why I think this game could be a track meet of some sort is that there aren't many games played in the United States on January 28th where it's going to be 71 degrees and mostly sunny. But that's the forecast at kickoff in Santa Clara, California on Sunday. So, enjoy the game, everybody, and look longingly at this game from where you are in the darkness, wherever you are, and the mist and the rain or whatever your weather is going to be. But I don't think the weather is going to be a factor other than a factor that the offenses are going to be delighted by.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those games that starts in daylight and slowly gets dark, and it becomes a night game by the time it's done. Both games Sunday should be awesome. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.